приглашаем Маркуса Хелферта, это наш коллега из Ирландии, который расскажет о своем собственном опыте, как студенты становятся предпринимателями у них там. Это последний сегодня вот европейский гость, дальше пойдут все наши. Но для, опять же, наших студентов, я говорю, у нас есть проект, в этом проекте мы планируем, что лучшие студенты, которые покажут себя инноваторами, поедут в том числе на стажировку за рубеж. Да? Поэтому, коллеги, послушайте, как там, и поверьте, там это очень близко. Итак, Маркус.
Thanks very much for the kind introduction. I don't speak Ukrainian, but I think you introduced me from Ireland, Dublin City University, and some experiences from Ireland. So when I was asked to give a speech here, a talk about entrepreneurship and the context that basically, like, here are hundreds of students interested in entrepreneurship, I was thinking, what can I contribute which you don't know already? You have already heard some presentations about starting your business, how to set up a company, and then I was thinking, maybe I phrase it around that 10 years experience in Ireland. I'm about 10 years in Ireland. I'm originally from Germany, studied there, and then I moved to Ireland. And Ireland is how Carlos, the previous speaker, would call it, also a tech scene. Like, we have knowledge, we have probably loads of talent there as well, and we have ambient. Ireland is a very vibrant place. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my experience of these 10 years in Ireland. And when I saw the presentations, like even the previous presentations from the technology part, like as I said, I don't speak Ukrainian, but the essence what I got is we all talk about the same thing. How to set up that ecosystem, that university ecosystem, where you can actually set up your own companies, where you can get that help, Carlos phrased it as, where you can get that lifeline to do startup companies, to set up companies, to experience the business life, to actually be successful. That's what we are talking about. And before this morning and yesterday and tomorrow, we have a meeting parallel to that session on a campus project. It's a large project with some universities from the Ukraine to talk exactly about that, how to set up that university or entrepreneurial ecosystem to enable you to do these things what you would like to do. And so then the second thing what I was thinking about, students as entrepreneurs. Do we like to be that? Can we do it? And basically my conclusion to that is yes, we can, and we can be entrepreneurs. And now I could actually nearly close my speech, I won't. But basically what I want to say is actually you have the talent to do that. You have hopefully the motivation to do it. And you certainly, what I experienced here in the Ukraine, and particularly here at the university, you have the environment to do it. You have supportive staff, you have also support in mentoring, and so you really need to do that. Like, when you really want to do it, you can do it, you should do it, you can be an entrepreneur. Why? Who has actually a good idea? Or maybe otherwise, who has not a good idea? Only a handful. So the rest have at least an idea, a good idea, they believe in it, and so you should try to make it real. Why? Like, that's basically what I put together yesterday. It's fun, it's certainly fun, to actually create something by yourself, to be your own boss. Bring your idea, that good idea, to life. Maybe it's money, it's not bad. It's not a bad reason, so to actually do the nice things. Flexibility and freedom, that's what I find, and that's certainly why I'm in academia, but I'm also, I'll talk a little bit about that, I'm also an entrepreneur. It's challenging, it's not easy to sell the first product, or to have the first customer. That's really challenging, and to talk, and you need to do various things. It's not just basically when we talk about IT, to produce a good software program. You actually have to understand the client, you have to sell it, you have to explain them, you have to network. So a few things what we talked about, or what presenters this morning said, it's challenging and provide impact. It's nothing better than changing something. Like if you sell a software tool or a solution and you help a client or you change something, that's basically impact. You change something and that's great fun. But it's all not so easy as usually in life. It's certainly hard work, and I put that deliberately on the top. So if you think about a 30, 40-hour week, probably you don't, because that's why you are here. That's not what we are talking about. It's quite difficult to do it. There are lots of failures. It's really difficult to do. Lots of risk, and that's usually really kind of, okay, if I graduate, have a nice job in a company, or do I really take that risk? Don't know exactly what happens the next year, but you're young, you can do that, like really try it out. Barriers, obstacles, and that's actually where that university ecosystem can help. And one I think, one of the things, also in academia and as a entrepreneur, you're pretty much on your own, on the beginning, but you can create your network around it. I show you a little bit how to do that. So. The main thing, what I would, as an asset, usually I try to keep it to 3, I put 4 on it, believe in yourself. Believe in that idea what you have. Carlos said this morning in the presentation, he wanted to become a rock star. Maybe if it would have been a bit more business-oriented, he should have believed in that and actually set it up. I talked over lunch with him about that time between being a rock star and now an academic and in Greenborough, so that's a quite interesting journey in itself. Have a vision, think about that idea, where it could be placed, which customer actually would require something similar, what you're thinking it is. Motivation, and again, hard work. So it's really not easy. So that's the essence of it. So if you are already a little bit tired of all the presentations, and you find it a bit difficult on following these examples, what I talk about, that's the essence of my talk. So take that slide at least with you on the evening. So hard work, not easy, but fun. And I always try to get a few quotes. You can Google them very easy, entrepreneurial quotes. But I highlighted a few things what I think is interesting. You can create something, you can change something. You can actually, with your vision, your idea, you can leave that imagination to get from one point to the next one. You can really get that much better than actually someone else tells you what you have to do. You can have that imagination. Success is not what you have, but who you are. Everyone has certain capabilities, certain strengths, certain knowledge. Take that as an advantage. Maybe you are more on the technical side, then take that as an advantage and you have a strong technology. Or you're a much more communicative person and you can actually talk with clients much better, you can understand them better. Tailor your idea, your solution to what you actually are, what you have the capabilities in it. And then that one, hard work, dedication, and to give the best, actually, I think that makes it hopefully in the end successful. So it's not the absolute success way, but at least these are pillars to success. What makes me talking about that? Okay, I'm an academic. I usually do research in information systems, so service-oriented architectures, so more on the kind of conceptual side. But at the same time, I'm actually also an entrepreneur. I'm director of 3 enterprises, more or less successful, I have to admit that. The first one is OcuHealth. I was more an advisor in that process, but as director I helped to shape the business plan, the business direction. So that was in 2006. And that company now has several people working for them. We have several big clients in Ireland, and it just was created out of a necessity. My friend basically was laid off, so she just didn't have she lost her position in that particular company, and she had that idea to create an occupational health, so health and safety company with some online tools supporting that. And I remember that time, within 7 days, we had a logo created, that's still the logo. We had a kind of a rough idea what we could do with technology, and we filed the application to the company registration office. And even that was challenging to fill in the form. So these are kind of small obstacles, but within 7 days we basically started that entrepreneurial route, and it survived since 2006. It's not like this one 10 million companies with euro revenue companies, but it survived. It's fun to work with that company. We have big clients. and we can do whatever we want to do within the company. The other company, I was a bit more behind it. It was then formed a year later with lots of, oops. So with friends, researchers and software engineers, and we do software solutions, consulting projects. We're working also with clients in Ireland and recently in Germany, so we expanded to Germany with traditional kind of software development consulting. So we are also not a huge company, but it's good. And the newest one we founded last year, recognizing that ecosystem, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, the network between universities, companies, students, we founded an association. So not a profit-oriented company, that's already different to set up, but also it's more like a support to do exactly these kind of things what we are talking about. To set up companies in that university industry space, to provide support, to provide help, information, to set up, to build that network what we actually all rely on. The previous speaker this morning, they all said we need to connect, we need to network advice, so that's basically what that association does. Also to basically provide some funding support, to direct entrepreneurs, startup businesses, and researchers to get access to funding. So that's the three things what I'm involved in. I'm not in all of this, I can't do everything 100%, but I'm always, like I'm a director of all these companies, so I'm in the business meetings, I'm helping them to shape the direction and providing advice. That's what I'm doing. So, and that's at least some experience over the last couple of years and 10 years in Ireland. But I couldn't have done that completely by myself. I'm in that surrounding or the environment of a university, of the School of Computing, in a faculty, so I have colleagues, I have a support mechanism from an incubator, an innovation center in Dublin City University in Ireland. Also a very modern university. It's the youngest university in Ireland, that gives us a lot of flexibility. Innovative, excellent kind of for employment and also industry relationships. So that kind of environment, that spirit of working with industry and actually understanding the needs of industry, that helped me to do these things. So we are reasonably sized, 10, 11,000 students. So we are not the biggest university in Ireland, but we're growing, and we are the only one who doesn't have a big budget problem. Because of that we collaborate with industry, so that's a nice thing. School of Computing, probably not so different than here. A few research centers, some prominent research topics, cloud computing, for example, language technologies. We have research students. I'm teaching on the bachelor level, master level, and I'm supervising PhD students. So the traditional kind of university environment, what you would expect. But what I learned over the last 10 years is, from the first day when students come to the university, they are motivated usually, they have good ideas, and when we listen to them, we actually can shape an idea, we can actually get the kind of a solution out together, and all just advising. For example, 3-4 years ago, there were a group like 3 students, they wanted to set up something in information quality, and basically what I did, I just talked with them and they set it up on the end, and they started actually a business out of it. Later they went into contract employment, so it's different then. But so they basically started to do something on that. So, but what I'm saying is, have the same thing here at university, academics, support environment. But we have also an innovation center, and they are very helpful. And they were set up around 2002, so 10 years ago. And they changed also the approach how they help us. In the beginning, it was more like kind of giving us knowledge, information about how to set up companies, how to commercialize our research. But then they started to become much more proactive. They actually advise us, they take us from an idea to funding sources, and then some to more commercialization project. So they try to collaborate with researchers, with students in a proactive way, so taking that to the next step. So I think Carlos talked about a process. That's basically what we have behind that as well. And good people who know what they do and who can actually facilitate that process, collaborate to innovate. So, based in DCU campus, so typical things what they do, talking with linkage with external, internal clients, researchers, students, partnerships, funding schemes, advice. Also on the research side, they help us to get funding for master by research, postdoctoral, doctoral students, and provide business incubator facilities. So the different thing is they're proactive, they have a process, they facilitate actually from an idea to commercialization of startup companies in various ways. And like initially I thought I can get bring someone here from the technology transfer or the Invent Center here because that's basically their daily work. But I have that experience working with them, so it's actually quite interesting. So they also provide different options. Probably here something similar. We can have virtual spaces, the office space, conference facilities, meeting rooms, and don't underestimate that. You are linked into a community immediately. If you have an innovation center or something, you actually have people who do the same, have the same experience, the same problems. It's just good to talk about the problems. You have also the meeting facilities. Bring a client to, for example, in DCU, in Dublin City University. Bring a client there, it looks impressive. Even it can be a tiny company, but these meeting rooms, they look really impressive with the whole campus, the whole infrastructure. Your company is much bigger immediately. Also, I don't know the funding sources from Europe, startup companies, but to have a proper professional conference facility is not so cheap. Like we can do Skype, but like a Polycom conference facility, so they offer that as well. And the best thing is often free, or it costs nothing. Like it's really saving money. So that's usually one of the key things on the beginning when you start up a company, not to spend everything on something like this. So, what they also do, and I think there's Dublin City University and Ireland quite good in it, we have training, entrepreneurial skills, entrepreneurial development throughout the study program, so we can take training courses, we also get advice, we get the contact network, and then they have a formal program, nice word, New Frontiers program, launched this year, to provide exactly that support mechanism, what we are talking about, that ecosystem, that lifeline to make startup companies successful, to realize your idea. To equip them with the skills and contacts needed to successfully start and grow a company. So concrete measures, the middle one, they basically pay 6 months of salary, 15,000 euros. In Ireland is not a big salary, but it at least gives a little bit of money to survive. Offices. The first one, training in areas of business. If you have a technical degree, what I would suggest, take a half day, start up your business course. A bit of marketing, a bit of finances, a bit of legal things. So just to get actually a little bit of experience, a bit of knowledge on that. So that's important. Like I did that as well. It was a really good experience. How to write a simple business plan. I'm not talking about a degree in marketing. I'm talking about 6 hours well spent on a start up your business course. So that's the first one. Mentoring from experienced business advisors. So they have an official mentoring program. So they're actually successful startup companies and business people coming in and advising young people or as academics what to do and how to shape it, how to ask the right questions. Offices, network with other entrepreneurs, I mentioned that can be really fruitful and also helps to reduce that I'm alone and I have to do my own business by myself. Expertise, supportive environment, and that helps a lot, that supportive environment. We also have more formal funding support from the state, and now everyone thinks about Ireland. You probably heard about the financial problems Ireland has. We reduced a lot of other budgets, but these type of budgets entrepreneurial, startup business, collaborate, research, they actually increased over the last 3 years. So money is not a big problem. If you have an idea and we talk to that funding agency, they will sponsor us. That's not a problem. And we don't need much money, particularly technology like IT companies. We usually don't need huge budgets. We have one scheme which works very well. It's called Innovation Partnerships. It's basically so university could be an academic, a student with an idea, and they provide them funding support. If it's already an established company, the company puts in a little bit, the government puts in more, or they also have different schemes for high potential startups which have no own fund. So there are various ways to do exactly that. That's what we talk about, the ecosystem. I know Carlos presented more impressive figures, but that's only 2 years, and that's only ICT, IS, information technology, information systems. And we have only linked the very successful ones. So the other ones, we were involved in other setting up processes, but so the realized one, startups, for licenses is a big thing for our university, and these partnerships with other businesses that network around that. And I just mention a few of these cases, so I don't go into detail. First of all, I'm not involved in all these projects, but second, you saw this morning a few success stories, and you probably have other presentations where they mention success stories. So I picked 4 from small to large, software dominated but also hardware dominated, so it doesn't matter what the idea is as long as it's good and you realize it. So it could be like something very technical oriented. I don't know anything about mining and these drill bits, but they found a technology to make them a little bit better, to drill mine drilling, and they made them harder, and that's basically a company who uses that, and that's very successful. Another one, a little bit more on the IT side, software side, they found and developed an algorithm to detect something on ultrasound pictures for embryo features, so they were very good on that, so to detect, recognize something, and that's license or work together with a company as well. So, and the huge thing, what the funding bodies, the companies look at, can we transfer it to other markets? Is there huge export potential? Can we make a business out of it? Another one, a colleague of mine, Ray Walsh, he works in the cloud computing space with a company together, a Microsoft spin-off, and he looks at mechanisms to distribute software and across the cloud service architecture, so he develops techniques for that, which they can use to distribute that better. Another colleague of mine, he works in XML database schemes, and he improved something for a software company which provides software to travel agencies. Main point is they all found a technology, they found a problem what the companies have, and they provided that. So they found actually some value, or somewhere where they add something. And that's what you have to think about when you said at the beginning, most of you have a good idea, think about why would the customer actually pay for something like this? Because at the end of the day, you want to have something from them. It's not a hobby. So you really have to think about why, what problem would you solve for these companies? And all these 4 cases, they all found a problem, and they had a solution for it. A nice one, a real startup company is Style Ice. Fashion-oriented, so basically what they do, they have a mapping algorithm, so if you take a photo from some clothes and you basically, so they map others to it, so they find the best matches or mapping to that fashion or the clothes for that. So I found that idea great. I'm not a fashion person, but I found the idea great. We have a nice technical algorithm, and you apply that to a problem which probably lots of people have. They want to find something similar or purchase something similar on that. And they're actually like, that's always a nice thing, they won an award, won to watch award, so that's basically already known that in Ireland, and the Minister for Research and Innovation presented that award, so they are actually already on the scene, and they probably don't have a problem to get venture capital investment into that. When you're on that stage, that's a good thing. Another one where we licensed some technologies, and that's what we do actually quite a lot. We develop some intellectual property, some technology, and then we collaborate with industry together, and here in that form we license that. But it doesn't have to be all that sophisticated and these 10 million, $50 million company or euro companies. That's a simple one. A student of mine, he came over the summer to Ireland. Within 4 weeks, he produced a nice tool which is now actually found a customer who pays for it. It came out of an idea, and over time it actually developed, like I call it waste contamination annotation software. He basically developed a software piece to mark waste pictures from these trucks. Like you have to think about that the waste collection, they collect all these bins and then they record what is thrown in there. And basically what he did, he developed a software around it to upload it and to annotate that. And he talked with waste management companies who are using now this system. So it's actually a simple thing, and he found someone who actually pays for that. He found his first customer, because that's usually really the tricky bit, to sell what you actually have on idea. Supporting all of this in that eco-environment, I didn't write entrepreneurial ecosystem, but what we are trying to do is always finding the problem, having a research component in it, helping the researchers, the students to develop the solution, and then like this is in a research environment, we can publish it, but we can also set up a company or commercialize it. So that's like we see that as well as a process from a problem to a solution and to commercialization, and there's loads of support mechanisms around you. And I know they have support mechanisms, and that's what we are working in that campus project. Bigger one is also like that OIRA, collaborating industry and academia, providing the access, providing a network. We do conferences, so then I have actually access to the right people, or when I say the companies we're working with, and having funding sources as well. So that's a good thing for building the network. To summarize, look a little bit on the time as well, because I usually keep the presentations also very short, because if you can't say it in 10-15 minutes, maybe you should rethink what you want to present, particularly because everyone is very busy. If you have a good idea, I have to make it also worthwhile while you're sitting here. So I want to summarize, in addition to that first slide, what I said, why to actually set up a company. I want my own personal reflection of the last 10 years, what I think is important. First of all, I categorize it as learn. Take that opportunity here and learn. Do projects when you can. Take the courses here, what is offered. Learn from small projects, even small student projects. Get experience how to set it up, how to manage a project. If you get a task for 3 months to develop software, you have already some project management skills. Student project. Then know something. From that learning, know the market, learn about the market, and think about that idea, shape it into a core solution or technology. I always ask that question, so what is actually, first of all, the problem, and what is the piece you actually provide? Because contacts are crucial. I don't think Ukraine is so different than Ireland or Germany. Contact is everything. Go into these networks, business networks. Like I'm spending some time on kind of these breakfast meetings, business networks. It's very easy to get in there. We just attend it. Build your own, I call it partner network. And I deliberately marked it like this because you have partners who are valuable for you. There's no problem to be egoistic when you're a startup company. Think about that basically 3 minutes, that you have to shape it and think about who can be beneficial for yourself. Use advice and support. Talk with the professors here. Talk with others, but don't reveal all. So it's often for free. Then to succeed, I personally believe, forget financial projections, long business plans, but think about your cash flow, how you pay for the first year. A cash flow, money, what you have to spend is quite important. Sell, get your first customer, create revenue, and be motivated, have your vision, and hopefully you succeed with that. One quote to conclude the session: if you can't do great things, do small things in a great way. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how small or how focused your idea is, as long as you do it really good, and you use these advice and these suggestions, you can actually have a really good startup company, entrepreneurial way. So if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. And I replace this one to basically my entrepreneurial contacts. That's basically what I do if I'm not an academic. I do also work for the company there. So, but I know you have to conclude the presentation. I probably would like to talk a bit more, but I'm enthusiastic even after 10 years now doing exactly that. So it's a great thing. So if you have an idea and if you are motivated, do it.
Есть желающие задать вопросы? А поехать в Дублин? Тоже никто не хочет? Да, пожалуйста.
Tell me please, how can I be sure that my idea have not been stolen? Have not been stolen. Stolen.
Oh, that's exactly why I said partner in brackets. Basically, I would be I would talk with people. You always have to have advice, but you're never sure that. And I don't think actually, typically, for example, in the university environment, not everyone wants to basically set up your company. They want to work with you, maybe. Or so I wouldn't be that afraid that someone directly steals your idea, but I would be very careful with whom I'm partnering. I like usually the first thing is, can I work with them? Do I like to work with them? The other one is really, are they honest, they trust, that's important, and then it usually works very well. So I wouldn't go basically, maybe if you have a really good technical idea and present that in a very big forum, but build your partner network, and then basically these kind of partners, these partners become real partners, and then they become real collaboration. So a little bit of sense, but I wouldn't be too afraid. A little bit of cautious, but yeah. So, but otherwise, don't sit in your own room and tell no one. That's also prepared. So it's a bit of kind of tricky thing, but it's yeah.